Welcome to Bonehead. Good to see you all come back for another week. Last week we did time travel, the movies. This week we're doing time travel
in television.
In surround sound.
Are we doing?
I don't know.
Are we gonna do time travel in books, and then time travel in music, and then time travel in?
Can you do time travel in music?
Yes.
Yes, we do a whole episode on Steve Miller. Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Well, we could do an entire thing about Huey Lewis and the News. Because you don't need money. You don't need fame.
It don't take no credit card to ride this train. I got to make a train joke.
That was a joke.
That's funny to me. Screw you people. I don't need your laughs. Anyway. So go to boneheadhumor.com. Please go to SoundCloud. I did have somebody message me last week saying, hey, I have an Android. I guess there's a problem with iTunes if you have an Android phone. So SoundCloud should work just fine.
iTunes is owned by
Apple. Android is not.
Yeah, but I thought you could still use
I don't know.
iTunes on your...
That beard's made you go Amish.
I always thought something was Amish with him.
So please rate... Oh, my God.
Amish.
I'm going to sit
see what
back.
I did there?
You guys, just go ahead.
How's the con going this year?
Is it late? Is he a min at night?
Oh, God.
Yeah? You see that? It's dark outside. Huh? How is he on camera? Get to work! Don't make him mad. We need the sorghum.
Your soul's getting sucked in right now.
It's been a long day. It's going to be a long night.
Well, but you worked all day. You put a barn up this morning.
Yeah, well, been living most of my life.
That barn was made out of Lincoln logs.
So
tried to milk that milk. He tried to milk that little plastic cow.
Let's finish this so we can move on. I'm going to ask you all a few questions.
You want to go ahead and get... was 18.
Don't make that joke now.
Oh, that's true.
Don't you dare make that joke now. We do not need that kind of publicity.
That's true. I apologize.
I was
trying to do a line from Brain Donors, which is not a time travel film, but a good film nonetheless.
Yeah, now, we'll get to that, but yeah. So
there's a scene with a clock.
I'm going to clock you. Go ahead.
I want to ask you all a few questions. So, how many time travel shows do you think there are?
I can think of probably 20 off the top of my head.
I got 5.
5?
5.
I stopped at over 50 between now and 1963.
But wait, did you name those in your head?
Are you talking about purely time travel, or are you talking about things that have like Twilight Zone?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Did you name these, or did you research them?
I haven't talked to the Boneheads. In fact, I told them before this I want to do something a little different. I researched.
Is he doing that NPR thing to us?
No, yeah. I researched this. I just want to go over.
Is he James Lipton us?
So, here's the thing.
Tea. Mwah.
Right now,
he's ignoring us.
Yes, I am. There's over 50 since 63. And the first thing when we came up with this idea, I thought, oh, there's a ton of time travel movies. Oh, we can talk about those. And then, well, TV, surely there's a lot. Or you've seen a lot. And I don't know that I've seen a lot of time travel television.
Really?
No, I don't think. I do not think. I mean, there's a few, but here. So, Ranker.com has the top 24, right? You want to hear them? And we're going to discuss a few of these, and because I want to get into why I don't think they're time travel.
Do you want to go top 24 or top 10?
Oh, I have so much to go from this point.
Okay.
Now, some of these I've never even heard of. Real quick, Doctor Who?
Well, yeah.
Lost?
Yeah.
I don't know that Lost is a time travel show.
Is
Quantum Leap.
One of them purgatory sayings?
It is kind of that, though. Quantum Leap, Outlander, Terra Nova, 11/22/63, Samurai Jack.
I mean, he's in feudal Japan and gets sucked into the future by what's the villain?
He's a shadow type.
Yeah.
Continuum, Twilight Zone, Legends of Tomorrow, which I didn't know dealt with time travel.
Oh yeah,
that's the whole point of what they're doing.
They're going to be legends in the future, but it's all a lie.
You see what I'm saying? Legend of Tomorrow, Time Tunnel, Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles, Outer Limits, I don't think the Outer Limits should be on there. There's time travel episodes.
Well, say
Time Tracks that stars TV's Dale Midkiff.
I was going to bring it up.
The worst actor of all time.
He talks into a credit card, people.
Daybreak.
And his gun is a key.
It's About Time. Phil of the Future, Ashes to Ashes, 12 Monkeys, which I've never seen either.
I forgot Phil of the Future.
Is True Calling on this list?
True Calling, I did not put on here, but yes, I did find it. Land of the Lost.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's time travel, though.
How is that not time
that's
travel?
a whole other... They're not going back in time. Wasn't Land of the Lost, they fell into a tunnel that where the creatures still existed? That's not time travel.
No.
I thought there was actually time travel in the theme song.
Am I right, James? They fell in, they went down caving, and they ended up in a land of the lost.
Spelunking.
Yeah.
With the Jeep.
Yeah.
Because they use the Jeep and tinfoil to drive.
I don't think it's time travel. I don't think it belongs on here. Voyagers, Journeyman, Flash Forward, Life on Mars, both the British and the American version. Yeah. Actually, the American version is the one I've seen. Now, if you go to Nia Tarama, there's Sleepy Hollow. That's not time. I mean, it is kind of time travel.
No, it's supernatural because he's dead, and it's the spell that brings him back.
Odyssey 5 with Peter Weller. Has either one of you ever seen it?
I have.
Yes.
Dirk Gently, which I've only watched the first 2 episodes of.
Dirk Gently's holistic. Yeah, there's time travel in that.
Yeah. Voyagers, 7 Days, It's About Time. It's About Time was one I'd never even heard of. It was made by Sherwood Schwartz in the 60s. You ever heard of it?
Yeah.
These astronauts go back in time, bring home a caveman family.
Yep.
Right now, you can watch Timeless, Frequency, and Netflix. Netflix has Traitors. They did Time After Time last year, which is, we talked about Time After Time in the last episode. They did a 6 or 8 series of that. And last but not least, I wanted to put Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
And they also didn't last. You didn't mention James's show from the TV shows canceled too soon.
Outlaws
did not show up on any list. I did all this because...
A forgotten classic?
I did all this because I don't care other than Lost. And, I mean, there's a few of them I enjoy.
Time Tracks was...
Really?
No.
It has Dale Midkiff.
Yeah, no.
And by the way, Dale Midkiff, if you're watching this and you want to come on the show and box me, let's do that.
Oh, my God. Actually, Dale Midkiff, I will buy you 3 sodas. 3. I don't know what you're getting offers other places, but that's 3 sodas, and I'm not talking like sample. We're talking full 20-ounce bottles.
I will say, I loved Time Tracks as a kid.
I've never seen it.
It was on syndication. I believe it was part of that action pack with Hercules.
I'm sure it was.
Was it really?
I think I might be wrong.
Well, here I will. You talk. I'll look up the.
I mean, it was a direct ripoff of Quantum Leap. I mean, he had a holographic assistant who helped him track down criminals.
I liked Quantum Leap.
I loved Quantum Leap.
I think Doctor Who does do time travel, but would you call that a time travel show?
See, that's where I kind of feel like it's not, because really a lot of, I don't know about the previous incarnations, but a lot of the new episodes, it's them traveling to different places in space.
It's also making history. Was that on your list?
No, I stopped. You said I'm not going to read all these. Dude, I stopped. I, for some odd reason, thought this is going to be so tough. And it is for another reason. I thought it was going to be so tough because to myself in my mind, I was like, there's not that many time travel TV shows.
No, I mean, it's...
Holy shit, there's a ton of time travel episodes.
It's such
TVs.
It's such an easy thing to write.
But I don't watch any of these. I've watched some of Sleepy Hollow. I watched some of Dirk Gently, couldn't get into it.
I love Dirk Gently.
I've watched Life on Mars, the American version. I did enjoy that. I liked the ending. I never watched Outlander. I liked Quantum Leap. Lost, how is Lost time travel?
I'm trying to remember where they time traveled. I don't remember them.
You kind of. Do you see what I'm saying?
I mean,
don't even think it belongs on the list.
They show pieces of it that take place in the past, but they don't really time travel.
Actually, Time Tracks, real quick, was the last new production from Laura Moore Television.
Okay.
And it was an American-Australian co-produced show.
Yeah, I knew that. I just thought it was part of what they on syndication.
If you can hear that, the cat is over there on his scratching post. Ash, you want to come over and hang out with us? Anyway, so go ahead.
No, I just feel like it's the same thing with why do they keep making time travel movies? It's a simple plot-driven
But it's never simple. I mean, they make it, I guess, simplistic, but it's... Ash, you want to come hang out?
I'm getting up.
But if you're going to use that logic that if Lost is...
Hey, Puddin'.
Then Brimstone is. than all these shows.
I don't think Lost
Brimstone,
is.
you brought up Brimstone.
No, well, because Brimstone, that's part of his curse, right?
Mhm.
It's 12 to 14 years after he quote unquote died that he gets to come back.
But and I
Wife
know
has moved
we were
on
talking
and-
about this beforehand. I know Twilight Zone has some great time travel. Come here, bud. I know Twilight Zone has some great episodes about time travel. So does Outer Limits, but
so
I
does
don't.
Star Trek. So does
I don't consider. Star Trek did not show. Now, if you go into great time travel episodes,
yes, you get
Star Trek permeates. I mean, it's everywhere. However, if you're just talking about time travel shows and you start Googling this and you check more than one or two things, Haley's laughing. Was it? Is it because of the cat?
Well, that's another reason why time travel shows aren't really successful, except with a few exceptions like Doctor Who. But even then, there was a large gap where Doctor Who was not
I make
on
all
the
the
air.
Doctor Who fans mad because I know the real answer to this. But since there's only one of them, shouldn't it be Doctor Whom?
Oh my god!
What is the real answer?
That's actually came up before, and it's because there's multiple versions. It would be Doctor Who.
I never even thought of that.
And that like Doctor Who, Quantum Leap lasted 7 seasons, and
But
then,
has the world's best worst ending ever.
yeah, and they even so.
I've actually never seen the ending.
So the ending wasn't supposed to be the series finale. They just ended the show. It was him in a coal. He gets time traveled back to a coal mining town, right?
Yep.
And
He's in a bar.
and he's in a bar with. It never comes out and says it, but it's God. He's talking to God.
The bartender pretty much is
God.
God.
And telling him that, hey, going through why he's important of, doing, it's kind of like it's not a flashback episode, but it's just them talking. And it was supposed to go into the next season. And then this network just canceled it.
Because
And
they had introduced the evil leaper.
Yes.
Who was sent by, it was implied, never flat out said, but was pretty much the devil's leaper.
Yeah.
And at the end, and the best part about it, I think is what you're getting into,
Is they
do a title card which said, when they realized, we're not renewing it, and Dr. Beckett continued to leap but never reached home, all that stuff. But Chad, what did they do wrong on the title card?
They spelled his name wrong.
Oh, really?
They never corrected
So
it.
he never returns home.
Yeah, that's
Never
and
returned
it's just a title card that says Sam Beckett never returned home, and then they spelled the character's name wrong.
Beckett is spelled wrong.
7 years on the air, and the network did not take the time to spell the name correctly.
They completely phoned it in.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's rare exceptions where time travel television shows actually last because they go, oh, this is a great device, we could do a time travel, and then they run out of ideas.
So if you want me to get starting about this,
Like I think Continuum lasted 3 seasons.
There's
Rachel Nichols.
I stopped, like I said, over 50 counting. Yes, hey sweetie. I stopped over 50 counting. Most of these, for the most part, except for less than a half a dozen, never lasted more than 3 seasons. Most of them were 1 season shows.
That's what I'm saying. It's a cool device to get people going. Hey, it's another time travel.
So the big successful ones would be Quantum Leap
and Doctor Who.
But is Doctor Who a time travel show?
It has time travel elements into it. It's just you might as well put Doctor Who into the same category as Star Trek. They have time travel episodes, but really it's kind of a space show.
Well, there's probably more time travel in Doctor Who than there is in Star Trek.
But Captain Kirk was a menace.
Yes.
And he does use time travel as a device several times throughout the show.
That's a great episode of Deep Space Nine, by the way.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of them I like, and there's a lot of them I've never seen.
Is there more time travel movies that you like than time travel TV?
Probably. Yeah, because I can think of more. But I just wanted to go through all this and set us up, and then go from that.
Well, no, I agree with you. I think the problem is, and I think you all have hit the nail on the head, is how do you do time?
When none of us can say time travel. We're all sober. None of us can say time travel.
How can you?
I am high on. I almost said something really horrible. High on life. We'll go with that.
But I think that's the problem is though time travel, and I think Legends of Tomorrow is pretty successful. It's still ongoing.
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was about time travel.
And you actually might like it because it's all about lies. Really, it's the Andy Griffith Show. The first episode.
What is that supposed to mean?
I think
it's a veiled comment on my personality.
I was doing the Andy
Would you
Griffith
please
thing.
put that down? You do not need that pistol, Ash.
The Andy Griffith. I was going back to the Andy Griffith Show being about lies because the first episode he basically gets all these sort of hero villain mixed people together, and says, "Listen, in the future, you're all going to be heroes, but to do that, you have to come with me, and we're going to travel through time." And then, what is it? Maybe halfway through the first season, he just goes, "I lied. I took you out of the timeline because you're so irrelevant. Nobody noticed."
Oh.
And it becomes this kind of ongoing thing. Well, if we're going to die anyway, nobody's going to know.
Ash, quit. It's better that we just don't even acknowledge it. People who watch the show will...
All 5 of them.
All 5 of them. So anyway, so what TV, what do you all like?
Well, I mean, obviously my bias for Star Trek comes up pretty quickly.
Again, if you're listening to us via the podcast version of this, James is holding a Star Trek
mug.
So now that you know that, please laugh.
But if you're, I would just say, if
you're, nothing else has been funny.
Because the people who actually are watching this video, they didn't laugh.
If you're watching through, or if you're listening through the podcast, Chad is wearing a uniform of a. I'm gonna stop before I say something horrible.
M-I-C-K-E-Y. Wait, no, that's not.
I was gonna go with Nazi.
What?
But anyway, no.
The 80s cheerleading song.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You.
I know. Doctor Who.
What?
They use that song.
Who said you could talk?
Throw your water at her.
Hold on. Hashtag feminism.
Oh my God, yes. Otherwise, if some odd reason we make it later on, Joe was always a sexist pig.
That'll fall into the duh category.
Hashtag tell all.
Joe was always a sexist pig. However, he was the one who said I should come do this show.
You know what? But no, I think you're right. I think the problem is, like, obviously Star Trek, stuff like that. But I think you're right in that if it's the only premise the show has, how much can you do it? Like, Quantum Leap worked because he's righting minor wrongs. The one episode that they did that was great with trying to save Kennedy.
Which was a 2-parter. No, was it a 3-parter?
He's just not going to stop.
It was multiple episodes.
Yeah.
And the thing about him not being able to, but then it turns out at the very end, spoiler, that both Kennedy and Jackie Onassis Kennedy was going to die too, and he did correct that.
Yeah.
But that comes up more than once. 11/22/63, which is based on the Stephen King novel.
33, 96.
Is also based on stopping the Kennedy assassination. Now, I actually haven't watched it. It's a Hulu series, and I don't have Hulu. However, I will say that the book, you've read the book,
yep.
I've read the book, I like the book. Stopping Kennedy's assassination is not a good thing.
Right.
For reasons that come out in the book.
Well, especially since they released all those letters, and it turned out he really wasn't a big fan of MLK. Did anybody else read that?
Nope.
No, I haven't read that.
The letter.
Well, the book deals with how Kennedy would have never had the balls to do things that Johnson did, specifically when it came to civil rights. People
that was true.
People hang a couple of things on Johnson, and normally the Vietnam War, but they forget about the rest of the agenda, which was really progressive.
Yep.
From a guy from Texas, especially. Yep. Right, Chad?
Yep. Lyndon Johnson was. If it wasn't for Lyndon Johnson, we would not have had civil rights, in my opinion. I mean, the progression of civil rights.
It would not have happened as soon.
It would not have happened as soon.
And he was pissed that, he did it because he thought it was right, but it's even played in different stories. He was like, we're going to lose it.
Could you not have covered?
I was trying. I couldn't get it
Lyndon Johnson
could have sneezed into the cat.
By the way, it was
not Spot.
Not Ash.
Oh.
Spot.
No, sneeze into that. You don't have a spittle all up
in your ear hole. What's funny is that this is shot in high def. Hopefully we can see the spray. Because if you're listening to it, it's sprayed all over Chad's face.
Could we just still shot that and that just be the promo, just 30 seconds of Chad getting spittle?
But anyway, he wouldn't have had the, no offense, cojones to go in and do a lot of things that Johnson did.
Right, no.
And where Johnson actually admitted, he said, we've lost the South for the next 50 years. It's more than that. They still never gained it back. Holy crap, we still haven't fixed all this? Racism still exists?
Yeah.
Oh, and there's no such thing as white privilege. I'm being sarcastic.
No, but back on the topic. I mean, the reason everybody focuses on Kennedy is because, again, one of the biggest figures in history, or one of the most powerful people. Well, and he was the last one to get assassinated.
Well, he was also the first Catholic president.
Well, he was the last president to get assassinated. I mean, MLK got assassinated after him. Medgar Evers got assassinated after him. Robert Kennedy got assassinated after him.
Yeah.
Huey P. Long did it before him. Huey P. Long set a standard.
But
I'll tell you why that's wrong later, kids.
11/22/63 is a good book. I mean, we're not doing books. However,
I saw a couple of the episodes of that show.
and
It's slow. And plus, I'm not a big James Franco fan, so that doesn't help.
But could you? I mean, can you? If you're trying to make that into a show, can you do it fast? I think that's the other issue with time
You
travel.
have to build on
You
it.
really can't. The time travel shows you either have to go split universe, is a different reality,
Yeah.
or you have to keep everything within the wheelhouse, and that's why Quantum Leap worked. Was he didn't change anything major outside the Kennedy episode was the only thing that was ever huge.
Well, the reason the Quantum Leap worked is because he's time traveling, yeah, but he's jumping into other people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that goes into the whole of I want to be somebody else.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then not only did he get to jump into regular people. I mean, he got to jump into Elvis. He got to jump into Marilyn Monroe's bodyguard.
Yeah, that's a good episode. He also got to jump into the guy where he actually causes a kid named Stevie to become Stephen King. You ever remember that episode?
Yeah, in the episode where he's he has
Oh boy.
he's a veterinarian and he has a farmhand who's like plays a guitar. And then at the same, he's he's writing a song about a pig and he's calling it Piggy Sue. And he goes, "Hey, how about you call that Peggy Sue?" And then that's how Buddy Holly was born. There's that whole
Totally
episode.
Forrest Gumping it all.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So basically what we're saying, Quantum Leap is the Forrest Gump of time travel.
Yes, basically.
Yeah, in a way, in a
But
sense,
I mean,
you could make that argument.
that's why I think Quantum Leap.
Al,
was
you
that
ain't got no legs, Al. Ziggy ain't got no legs.
But that's why.
Four Quantum Leap fans just go, Ziggy.
So-
See that?
Yeah,
He said
Ziggy. Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about Star Trek, or do you want to talk about something else?
Oh no, I mean
Because we actually didn't get to it.
we can actually talk about Star Trek because Star Trek has Star Trek uses time travel in some of the best ways, the better episodes. It's rare that there's a bad time travel Star Trek episode.
So Voyager is my least favorite.
But
Of the
man, when they
series.
time travel, it gets.
But there's
Sarah Silverman.
Sarah Silverman. That's the only one of the few good episodes in the first 3 or 4 seasons of that show.
Okay, let me argue that about, and I'm gonna hit my favorite Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, the one where they traveled back and it was they were holding people hostage in a bank,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and because the guy who was supposed to be there got killed, and Avery Brooks had to take on his personas to keep history, to keep the timeline. I thought that two-parter was awful.
Oh, maybe that sucks. I don't know. It's a long time. You know, the ones I remember are the one from that, or the one where they're Ferengi.
Area 51.
Oh God, Area 51's a classic episode of Star Trek.
And then the
period.
one where they go back to the original Trouble with Tribbles.
Yes.
It's Trials and Tribulations. It's
Trials
a
and Tribulations.
That's also another great episode of Deep Space Nine.
But even the original series, I mean,
you don't look like that. We
Yeah.
don't talk about it.
Yeah, the original series when they did it, there is always ranked one of the best television episodes of all time. Is City on the Edge of Forever.
You have to
written
use the
by-
word rape.
Rated.
I thought he said raped. Did you think he said raped
Raped.
too?
For a brief
Kid.
second, yeah.
How would that even work? Let's put that in the set. I gotta call time out. Always raped one of the best.
Stop there.
Why would that?
Just stop
How
there.
would that even work? Why would that work in that sentence? Anyway, City on the Edge of
Stop
Forever.
Weinsteining this up.
Oh my God! So now I'm screwed. I'm lost in Kevin Spacey.
Oh,
Oh, anyway,
God.
too soon? Not soon enough? I know it wasn't revealed soon enough. Some people could have been saved.
Yeah.
Anyway, City on the Edge of Forever, always rated one of the best television episodes.
Written
Top
by
100.
whom?
Written by Harlan Ellison.
Did you know that?
However,
Yes,
the
unfortunately.
true story, by the way.
Psycho extraordinaire.
I'm being sarcastic.
I know you are.
He's phenomenal, thank you.
He is a
Phenomenally
little crazy.
lunatic.
His original script was way darker than what got filmed.
Yes.
They flipped the light switch and it,
Everything was interior, scene, night.
Marco.
And Roddenberry's like, F that. Interior, scene, day.
And that's why they fought until Roddenberry's death.
By the way, that's a joke for anybody who knows screenwriting format. So two of them out
Marco
there giggled.
Polo, Captain.
Oh my God. Anyway,
I don't know. It was the best Spock I could do.
But the
We
plot
should
to
make you
the
drink more.
the
Me
plot
too.
the plot to the show or the episode is that they find the city on the edge of forever, which is this ancient device that has 4 centuries. You can travel through different periods of time. It was created as a way to catalog time, blah blah. And McCoy ends up in the episode overdosing on a drug, drives him crazy, jumps back through it, and they have to go back.
Is
and
it
find
cocaine?
No, it's some fictional.
Is it heroin?
And this is the one.
Yes, it's space heroin. They actually
Is it space reefer?
yes, yes. McCoy has too much of the space reefer.
Spaceballs the reefer.
And merchandising where the real money is. But anyway.
And this is where they meet white trash Elizabeth Taylor. What's her name?
Oh my God, Joan Collins.
Joan Collins.
Oh, that's Joan Collins. I completely forgot that that's Joan Collins.
And then Joan Collins.
He's right. That is white trash Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh my God. Is that going to be the name of this episode? Are we talking
White trash Elizabeth Taylor.
Anyway,
I really want to start keeping a scorecard of whose lines get the episode
anyway, she plays a pacifist.
She has it.
She has
you
it.
can talk, Haley. I was just joking earlier.
Am I winning?
Edith.
It's pretty close right now between the, no offense, love you, James, between those two.
I'm taking you out.
Yeah, some
Where
of
we
us.
going?
We normally.
Taco Bell.
No, I had Taco Bell last night.
Normally, the title lines are.
Sisters.
Normally, the title lines are some asinine comments, so it would make sense that I'm losing. Anyway, she plays a pacifist during the Depression.
She was writing a romance
and
novel.
if she
I was gonna say
lives,
she just walked around with a pacifier the whole episode.
God. If she lives, we delay her entrance into World War II. But she dies. But then McCoy saves her, and they have to. And that's the difference between the episode. She's walking out, and Kirk grabs McCoy before he can save her, and she gets hit by the bus. In the way Harlan Ellison wrote it, Spock shoves her in front of a bus because it has to be done, and it's a logical thing to do to make sure that she dies. And it's one of the best episodes. It has one of the classic ends to an original series episode.
It is a great episode.
He jumps back through the portal, and Enterprise is back because Enterprise disappears because the timeline changed. We no longer make it to space, and when he realizes the ship's there, because Kirk had fallen in love with her and thought that she was great, and she was.
Because she's Joan Collins.
She was just.
She's the white trash Elizabeth Taylor.
And when he gets back, his line is, "Beam me the hell out of here." He doesn't, beam us the hell out of here.
And cut to the next week, and he's perfectly okay that she's dead.
Oh no, the best actually.
60s television.
The best episode that does that forever in the original series, and I'm a huge original series fan. There's a ton of bad episodes, but is Alana of Troy.
Space hippies.
Yeah, that's a horrible episode. But the episode that does the best.
But I had so much fun watching Space Hippies.
I can't even. I watched it once.
Heading out to Eden.
Yeah.
Yay,
My
brother.
God.
Anyway,
I've only got that episode once. Every time it's on, I turn it off.
that's actually back in when the Sci-Fi Channel had the actors introduce it. That was the best one because they just had James do it, and they'd be like, "What's the episode?" And they said, "It's this one," and he goes, "Is that the space hippie one?" Oh my God! And he just cut and played the episode. But anyway,
I've heard that story before.
Well, maybe the people watching us had it. It's not all about you,
Those
Joe.
5 people have heard it before because they know you.
Good, thank God we have thousands of listeners.
Yeah.
I had a quote I was going to use and I forgot what it was.
Oh my God, we're still talking about this.
Anyway, so that was a great one. The other great one is they travel back in time and they get detected as a UFO in the original series.
This is Gary Seven?
No. This is a different one. And they beam the guy out because they realize what he's doing and they beam him out before his plane and they bring him aboard and they're like, he's just going to have to travel back to the future with us. And then they had DC Fontana wrote the episode and then they're like, oh, okay, well, we checked his name. It doesn't appear in the Earth records. But then Spock realizes his great-grandson will be somebody of significance. And they have to drop him back off, so they use the slingshot effect around the sun and drop him off.
Which episode is that?
I don't even remember this episode.
What is the name of the episode?
I don't remember it either.
It's called James is Making Crap Up.
No, it's the first season episode. DC Fontana wrote it. DC Fontana, if people aren't aware,
Is a great writer. Is a really
great
good
writer. Female science fiction writer. She did DC, so people wouldn't know she was female.
Props to feminism, but she really was blazing the trail there.
She is, and she's still very much alive as of last time I checked, and still
when he was outside her window.
Still very much riding, I believe. She is a machine.
For her. Good for her. She wrote on Next Generation for the first season too, as well.
Yeah.
And she wrote on the animated series. She wrote my favorite episode of the animated series.
Oh yeah, which involves
Spock and his puppy.
But how do they travel through time in that one?
I don't remember.
The Guardian of Forever. But so then you get from that episode you do
I
get
like
to
the Space Kitty.
You do get to Gary 7. Gary 7 was originally going to be a spin-off. Gary 7 mirrors a lot of Doctor Who. But it was going to be a guy that is charged with protecting the timeline. He encounters Kirk. Kirk doesn't know if he's a bad guy, good guy. You really kind of guess throughout the episode. And he has a companion that transforms into a cat that Spock pets. There you go. But they save the shuttle. And that's another time travel episode.
Any more Star Trek? You good?
Well, I mean, we could get into the Next Generation, but what I was going to say is, anytime Star Trek uses time travel, it's at least entertaining.
I agree.
Except for that one episode of those 2 episodes of DS9.
Does any?
I'm sorry. It's.
I don't remember them well.
It's not a.
Tomorrow is Yesterday is the name of that episode. Thank you, Haley. It is Tomorrow is Yesterday. I should have remembered that. Tomorrow is Yesterday.
Isn't tomorrow today?
But tomorrow comes today.
What?
Props to Haley and her light at Thinky Box.
That must be from
Assignment Earth, by the way, is the name of the Gary 7 episode. Assignment Earth.
All right, so Star Trek, is there any long-running series that does time travel better than Star Trek?
What do you mean by what is your definition of better in terms of dealing with the repercussions?
Because Enterprise had
that
time travel Cold War thing, which I actually really like.
I'm going to say entertaining.
Well, I mean, that's where you get into, are we talking about, like, if you're talking about every episode's time travel, I don't think there is one. But if you're talking about shows where time travel was used here and there, we were talking about it before. Twilight Zone, some of the better episodes are time travel episodes.
They are, but are they? I don't know that any of them are better than Star Trek. Some of the Star Trek ones, especially.
You know, and I know we're talking about TV shows.
I think.
Really?
Yeah. What's better than that?
But I think you can go into also, and I know we're talking about TV, but you got me, and of course I automatically think Harlan Ellison. You mentioned Stephen King, but Harlan Ellison wrote time travel episodes of Outer Limits.
Yes.
Which is
Demon with a Glass Hand.
Demon with a Glass Hand.
Yeah.
And it's what was the other one he wrote? The 2 that get cited as being inspiration.
I can't remember this. I always remember Demon with a Glass.
Demon with a Glass Hand.
Are you talking about the short story?
Yeah.
I Need to Scream, but I Have No Mouth.
No, not that one. That's which is a phenomenal story too.
Did I say the title correctly?
Yeah.
I Need to Scream, but I have no.
You could just fart.
Oh my God.
Just saying, if he had no mouth. I gotta scream.
No, that's not quite right, and now Chad's got me bumfuddled. Demon with Glass Hand is Outer Limits. He wrote the Twilight Zone episode that kind of involves.
Or hold up, he has no mouth. How about this?
He doesn't have hands.
That's not screaming.
And he doesn't have hands.
He doesn't have hands?
No, at the end he is manipulated and mutated into a blob that can do nothing but observe.
Well, then just throw himself against a wall.
That's not screaming.
But it doesn't.
You have to express yourself.
You are not addressing screaming.
He can't, and that's his punishment for the rest of eternity.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
So Harlan Ellison, going for TV, Outer Limits wrote that. Paladin of the Lost Hour for Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, that's for the '80s one. Paladin of the Lost Hour is probably not only is it a great short story, but he didn't write that. I don't think he wrote the teleplay for it. Maybe he did. I don't remember. Paladin of the Lost Hour was made in the '80s version of Twilight Zone, and a lot of people hate the '80s version of the Twilight Zone, and I think it's because one, they shot them and then they put them on videotape and they look terrible now.
It should have been called Twilight Zone.
I don't know that I'm totally there with you, but the thing is,
it's higher rated than the Forest Whitaker one.
Yes,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when you think of Twilight Zone, you think of Rod Serling.
Yeah, that's
so. The problem is, you could have just named it a different. They'd given it a title.
I think of Night Gallery.
I think that's a whole other. I think that could be a whole other show.
Yeah.
So the thing is with the Twilight Zone with the '80s,
you asked, so I answered. So.
He just showed up like this. So anyway, they did 2 seasons. It was supposed to be a huge hit, but they'd already made this contract where they had to do syndication or what have you. So they ended up doing a 3rd long season to make enough for syndication in Canada later. And I think that's what people remember. Those are the episodes. But if you go back and watch,
episode is a time travel episode, right?
No,
that's not.
No,
Okay.
That's also written by Harlan Ellison.
I knew it was written by him, but I thought
and directed by Wes Craven. That's Shatterday.
Yeah.
Shatterday.
I'll keep wanting to
is-
say Shat, but it's
Shatterday is also the name of one of Ellison's short story collections.
Yeah, it's Shatterday.
Okay.
But anyway, so basically the reason I think that works is when we were talking about time travel and people in the past, everyone wants to go visit and tell their younger self something. And that's what he does, is he's able to go back in time and visit his younger self and play with his younger self, which sounds funny, but hang out with him,
but he can't
and his
change
dad,
anything.
and he can't change anything. And he realizes that his dad's not what he thought he was, and in a good way, right?
Yeah.
And that he's the one with all the anger, who's caused all the anger. It's a really, if you ever get a chance.
The short story, which I've read, is really...
And if you get a chance to watch that Twilight Zone episode, it's amazing.
But what I was thinking is that all these shows have, and I'm a huge Harlan Ellison fan, but I also think there's so many of his stories that deal with that and deal with the fact that he played around a lot with time. Just with the fact that it seems that no matter how much we try to manipulate time, we end up being manipulated by it.
Mm.
And so you Paladin of the Lost Hour, Shatterday.
Satterday's not time travel, though.
No, I am trying to think of the story.
Shatterday.
Anyway, but I think that's interesting that the time travel that we focused on with movies tended to be more lighthearted. It seems like television time travel is darker.
Well, I think you can do, because...
you have to keep the suspense week to week.
That... What? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I got a great time travel episode.
What?
You're going to have to help me with the title. It's from comic books, but they did it in an animated version. Superman, where he gets hit with the star thing.
With interest.
And they've done that. No, they've done that, and they did a Supergirl episode, which was the same story.
But it shows what happened if Krypton didn't blow up.
And he has a family.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the curse of the thing that hits him.
I've already blanked. It's one of my favorite.
It's a dark episode of. Anytime they adapted,
where was it done? Where was it done?
It was done in the animated Superman.
So it started. It was a comic.
Done.
It's one of the more popular comic books in Superman's history.
But they did a Supergirl episode where they used the exact same plot.
But they did it. It's also they did it in the Justice League animated show. But essentially, Superman gets one of his villains attaches this virus thing to him.
It's a plant in this animated show.
Yeah, it causes him to symbiotic device plant, whatever. He and it causes him to sort of travel back in time to what happens if Krypton didn't explode. He has a family, but as he progresses in, things start happening to make him the world start to crumble because it's just too perfect for him.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I stay in this world where I know everything's a lie, or do I go to the future? Do I go back to real time and deal with everything that I'm currently dealing with, where I have all these people trying to kill me, where I'm constantly trying to save the world, where everything's
it has one of the last scenes where he's still in that other time, so to speak. Because basically what starts happening is Krypton starts to be destroyed because he's realizing it's not real.
Right.
And his son looks up at him and he goes, "If you go, will you remember me?" And then it's gone. And then he wakes up and he finds the villain and beats the crap out of him, telling him, "You made me relive it again." Yeah, you took it all. You made me do it all again. You took my family from me all again, and just wail. And it's one of the rare times that Superman just loses.
You mean it's one of the rare times he's interesting?
Yes.
Yes.
Not to be...
No. Superman is a boring character. Anybody who argues that is insane. Sorry, Jerry Seinfeld.
No, Superman is.
I know. I am, out of the three of us, I'm the one who has read the least by far comics.
It's the least
by
but I think
that's a great story device for storytelling.
And I think that's it. I think when you see what could have been,
and it was done in a cartoon for children.
and it was dark. My kids watched it
Yeah.
on demand through Netflix or whatever.
I
And
need to
then when
watch
they
it.
did the Supergirl episode, even Silas was like, "We've seen this before," and he didn't. say
Black
it's dark.
Mercy. Thank
Black
you, Haley,
Mercy.
with your light at Think
I
the
couldn't
Box.
find it on mine. Black Mercy. The Black Mercy is what they call it. Yes, yes, indeed. That's what the plant's called. Or
She's magnificent.
Don't call her beautiful. You'll get hate mail.
We won't. You will. When we do it, it's fun and cheeky. His shenanigans are dark and
I'll
twisted.
no, you go ahead and do it, Chad. I'll still get the hate. They'll just tell you hate everything. But Joe's the creep.
I don't hate Haley. She's beautiful and brilliant.
And there's the title.
Send all your letters to Joe Lewis.
Yeah.
Joe, Kevin Spacey, Lewis.
I know Chad said it, but I think Joe put him up to it.
Oh, it's only funny because it's terrible.
It's terrible.
But I think, so I think that's it. I think you're right. I think there's a lot more darkness in time travel that gets done for TV. I never thought about that until we talked about it.
There's some dark time travel movies, I'm sure, but
You could argue 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys is pretty dark.
God, I don't want to talk about Butterfly Effect. I just don't.
Butterfly Effect even is kind of, yeah.
But it's not, it kind of
I don't remember it being as bad as you said it.
I'm trying
But I
to
haven't
think.
seen it in 15 years. Or
I just
however
hated the cast with the exception of Ethan Suplee.
Oh my God, Ashton Kutcher.
And then Ethan Suplee as a goth guy just did not fit very well.
But so I'm trying to think about, because I think that's it. Now that we've been talking about it and the way you brought it up, there's always this darkness to it that...
I don't think, I enjoyed Quantum Leap. I don't think I've seen every episode, but as far as...
But it ends
3
darkly.
times.
It ends darkly too.
As far as television goes, I can name a dozen, if I took my time, without looking them up, of episodes of time travel I love if I thought about it for a little while. I can't do that with TV. I can't do that with the overarching series. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. There is...
And that was a whole problem I had of spending a few more... I spent a little bit more time looking a lot of stuff up and reading than I normally do. Because normally I can just pull... If any of you all know me, these two, I can just pull this crap right out of my brain. When we start talking about it, I just jerk it out. Send your letters to Joe Lewis. Joe made him say it. Talking about Haley being beautiful.
Oh, God, I'm glad you didn't finish that with jerking it out.
You know what's funny?
Then he jerked it out. This ain't putting up with this in Hollywood.
Oh my God.
Keep going.
Don't worry, we can get invited to Hollywood.
No, we're not.
We can't even get into Hollywood, Florida. We have to wait in line like everybody else for Planet Hollywood.
It's a true story.
But no, I think that's true. I think that the time travel, I think that is the problem with time travel television, why it's normally only one season. Because how do you keep that? Are they going to save reality this time? Because the first episode they don't.
Oh
well.
I guess... what's it called again? What's the one on Netflix? It's not Traitors. What's it? It's the Will and Grace. Will's in it.
I have no idea.
Time and time again?
No.
In time and time
I just
will pass
can't.
away?
I just can't read my handwriting. Travelers, I suppose, is pretty popular. Timeless, I guess, is a pretty big show. It's still on, right? But I've never seen one episode of it. It's on NBC.
But
I don't know if I refuse. Okay, I know I don't watch as much television as I used to. I try to watch as many movies as I can. I try to be specific about what I watch, so I can't give anything like. You know what I mean? If 2 or 3 episodes you don't have me, I don't have time. I've got a young son. I've got a wife. I've got a job, just like you all, right?
yeah.
So I can't believe that I missed this much.
Well, but I think the other part of it is, it's like, okay, Outlander.
I can believe it. I
My
obviously
wife
did.
watched the first episode of Outlander, maybe the second episode. She loved the books. But even she said, okay.
Outlander, I'm sorry, is leaving off very popular shows. Outlander is on Stars. I tried watching a little bit of it.
I think, Dana said that's pretty accurate to the books, at least a couple episodes she watched. But as she said...
Why did you pull that up?
I grabbed something. I'm like, what the hell is that? Oh, it's booze.
We're waiting on them to give us money. Put that back down. We will wear it as hats. All they have to do is give us money.
I'm not going to tell you what I thought I grabbed there for a minute. I got freaked out long.
It's not that long, brother. You're good.
God. But no, I was just trying to
Joe
think.
Lewis. Sorry.
I was trying to think of actually even time travel, and I know we're doing TV shows, but we jokingly said we'll do novels and all that stuff. And I just think that's one of the big challenges with it when you're doing anything that manipulates time. Like I said, you either have to spin it as it's an alternate reality, or you have to say you have to do minor stories because you can't alter anything too big.
This just occurred to me. Is it like horror films where there's only 2 or 3? And they've all the good ones have already been done.
Well, it's...
For example, there's only 2 horror stories, according to John Carpenter, and I actually firmly do believe this. There's only 2. You're setting up. You're a shaman is around the campfire. He's talking. He's telling a story, right?
Yeah.
And he tells you that the evil is out there, and you got to go out and fight that evil. Or he looks at you and says, "The evil is here, and it's in here." And those are the only 2 kinds of horror films.
Well, you could argue
everything
that...
else. I'm not saying that you can't do different spins on that, but those are basically 2. The evil's out there. The evil's right here.
Yeah. Well, but you can actually argue that point.
Is time travel really just about trying to fix you as yourself, trying to fix the future?
Well, and then there's always that concept of if you fix the future, do you even exist anymore?
Right.
And is there something about that is somewhat nihilistic in that maybe it would be better? Because and by the way, I was looking up. There's
either way, it's all about self-obsession.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's
why
I said.
Can I do it? Why do I have to be the one to do it?
That's
Why
what
it
I
has
said
to
in
be
the
me?
previous episode is that time travel, they go into man's natural instinct to be obsessed with what has happened or worrying about what is to become.
Yeah. So it's all about
going back to that thing.
Paladin, the last.
I think the other part about it though
about
is
one's childhood.
Every time you say Paladin, I think of Voltron. I'm sorry.
You don't actually think of Have Gun Will Travel?
Nope, I think of Voltron.
I think of Have Gun Will Travel.
I do too.
I'm sorry. Giant robot tigers are better than your Western.
But he had guns.
Have you actually seen Have Gun Will Travel?
I've seen Voltron, both versions. It's excellent.
Isn't there 3 versions now?
I don't know.
You're behind the times.
Oh, maybe there is a third. Yeah.
Sit down. Anyway. But you're going back to your John Carpenter thing.
Joe Lewis made him scream at Chad.
Going back to your John Carpenter thing, that's actually the problem with some people argue with stories in general.
Yeah.
There's 4 types of stories. Some people argue you have man versus man, man versus nature, man versus God, or man versus time, which you could argue is nature in itself.
I can't argue with.
And some people break that down even more generalized. You got idea stories where it's, hey, this is a unique idea. It has nothing to do with anything, but I'm going to tell you the story of the idea.
Uh-huh.
Or you have character story where I'm going to tell you about the character.
Why do y'all keep pointing at the ceiling?
Because people are up there dancing on
You
it.
do a horrible paint job. You need to fix that up.
Now, hold on, let me set up. Joe Lewis, angered by Chad's comment, swore then that he would develop a time machine and go back in time
And go to EKU instead of MSU.
and give Chad brain damage. We don't have to see how this worked out. It worked. He had brain damage.
And then he screws it up because he goes, "I'm going to Murray State." Oh crap! It's at Bonehead.
Yeah. Anyway, so what other TV series? I don't think we talked about as many. I'm so sorry.
No,
we kind of got off topic. So, is there a few that you all both wanted?
I mean, Star Trek was going to be what I was going to bring up, and Quantum Leap was going to be the other one because I think those kind of like we said, those are the ones that are.
And then I was going to bring up Time Tracks as a derivative of let's do another ripoff of Quantum Leap.
So what was Time Tracks about? So
Time Tracks.
I have no idea why. I think he's a horrible actor, but he's a terrible actor.
He's okay.
Oh my God! Who were you crapping on earlier? Who was he crapping on earlier?
James Franco.
You're crapping on James Franco, but Dale Metcalf you will defend.
He didn't get the better part.
If Dale
Dale Metcalf is a terrible actor.
If Dale Metcalf hosted the Oscars, though, it probably wouldn't be much worse.
No, it wouldn't be much worse. However, I think he could have done a better job at Pet Cemetery than Dale Metcalf.
That's true.
In all fairness to James Franco was a great actor. However, there are a lot of times where he just phones it in.
I think he's miscast a lot.
Yeah,
he's miscast.
Wizard of Oz movie. Oh my God!
If it's a Seth Rogen film, he's cast perfectly.
That was supposed to be Robert Downey Jr. originally, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
I didn't know. I didn't really find him funny in the interview.
I like the interview.
I didn't like him. Anyway, so time travel. Dale Metcalf. Time Tracks. It's really a blatant ripoff of Quantum Leap. If you
He has to stop criminals, right?
But yeah, so he's a cop in the future.
He's a time cop?
Several criminal. So
I think
apparently
they made a series out of Time Cop too.
they did. Yeah, they did.
I didn't even get that on there. It's crazy.
But no, in the future, everybody is apparently stronger, faster. They're basically superhuman, and they travel back to the 1990s.
That could make sense.
Several
people get taller.
Yeah, several criminals go back to the 1990s to take advantage of the fact that we're weaker and we don't have their technology.
Why didn't they travel back to the 1840s when people had rickets and whatnot?
Because the 1990s is when we were shooting the show and we didn't have to build sets. We could just go down to the Walmarts and say, this is a 90s Walmart.
Yeah, but for some reason, and there was some awful plot device. All they could send back to capture all these criminals that went back to the past was Dale Midkiff. They couldn't send.
We got RoboCop, we got Sean Connery, or we got Dale Midkiff.
I mean, at least one of these shows had Peter Weller in it.
Yeah, but no. So he traveled back in time to catch these criminals. He had a holographic assistant, just like Quantum Leap, who
named Biggie.
Who, by the way, they couldn't afford to have her on screen most of the time, so she talked into a damn credit card. This is no joke.
Hey, Biggie.
Yeah, and then his weapon was a little handheld zapper that if he hit the person with it, it would take him back to the future. And it was really cheap looking. It looked like a key fob. It probably was a key fob.
How many seasons was this on? I wonder. Only 2?
2 seasons. It was a syndicated show.
But I think the other part of that, and it actually talking about time travel stories, this just popped in my head. I hate to interrupt time travel. I'm totally fine to interrupt time. There was one other Star Trek episode that involved time travel from the original series, and that was the one with Mr. Atoz, where the planet was ending, and it's where Spock and they end up getting trapped back in prehistoric times, and
that one's a hard. I know. I kind of remember.
He eats red meat, and he realizes that that when they travel through time, their body starts to adjust.
Why are you fingering my
Because he starts to become a pre. But anyway, the funny part about the interesting part about that episode, because there's not much to that episode.
I'm it's a gear shift.
You don't like cars,
but
America.
What's interesting about that episode is it's the entire idea of. If we could travel through time, wouldn't that be the way to stop our world from ending? And that's what the entire plot to that episode is. It's the planet's ending, so they set up these time travel portals, and everybody just travels back to where time wasn't ending. And I just think that's a plot device that's not used a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do one, use that concept. We've seen enough of robots traveling through time. We've seen enough of Dale Midkiff traveling through time. I already said
there's a
robots.
robot traveling through time movie?
A demon with glass hand.
That'd be fun.
Spoiler.
Sherlock Holmes traveled through time.
But everybody's traveled through time. That's probably another thing.
He went to the future and fought crime with a robotic Watson.
And his great-great-great-granddaughter who was a police officer.
Yes.
And here's the other thing. We didn't even get into the comedies and sitcoms and whatnot that have used this at least once for a season.
What was the show where the girl was half alien and when she touched her fingers together she froze time?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Clock Stoppers.
No, that's a film
movie
directed by Jonathan
Frakes.
I'm now. It's actually going to bother me. But she was half alien.
So let's take the time.
I hope our beautiful producer Haley is over there twice an episode.
Half alien freezes time.
Right, Joe.
Say it
Is
again.
it Out of This World?
Out of This World. There you go.
See, boom.
It was a sitcom.
What did you just do?
Nobody's over here to high five me. I had to do it.
Huh?
If we can travel through time,
maybe if you were less attractive.
What the hell did that even mean?
All the pretty
I'm not allowed
people
to
and
say
their pretty
beautiful.
problems. Maybe
if you weren't such a hideous person, I don't know.
Let me feel all the pretty people and their pretty problems.
The pretty problems.
Anyway, no, I think but yeah, so there you go. There's another show that dealt with time manipulation.
Did we talk about Flight of the Navigator last episode?
I thought we did. I thought I did in my inebriation.
You didn't
Inebriation! You're breaking my
heart. All right, what
heart.
else do we need to talk about? We're running out of time.
I think the end result of all
he
of this...
He says I think a lot.
Well, I try to think a lot, unlike you people. Anyway, I think
Of course, what he thinks about is how to get all the butter on the popcorn evenly and in abundance.
I really thought he was going somewhere different before he said popcorn.
It would have been nice if you would have put some effort into it.
Yeah,
phoned it in.
Yeah, if you phoned it in. This whole episode's been phoned in.
Yeah.
It's been really serious.
Well, I mean,
I made a fart joke.
and
Yeah.
you also did it a couple times, you stinky, stinky man.
I don't want to talk about Mr. Hydrant Face over here. You heard me. Wrap this crap up.
Time travel works best as a plot device, not a consistent plot point. I think that's what we got the most out of this.
Yeah, during sweeps week, when you need
Yeah.
people to tune in.
Yeah.
Sheldon's going to go back and see himself as a kid. I mean, there's just tons of it everywhere.
Young Sheldon, by the way, I saw the first time when it was called The Wonder Years.
Okay, anyway.
Or the Goldbergs.
No, it's called The Wonder Years
I'm
first.
just saying the Goldbergs was the Wonder Years in the 80s.
Now, Chad,
Wrap this up.
I know, I sneezed on you
You
earlier.
could do the
but
same thing, though, with Happy Days.
Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, happy days.
I see where
I
you're
know.
going. You do
Yeah,
same
no,
thing.
I know. I know I sneezed on you
Awesome.
earlier. Which actually caused more issues, that or this?
Oh my god.
And on that bombshell, thank
Have a
you
good
so
night.
much for tuning
Remember, check us out on iTunes and YouTube, Bonehead
in.
Humor,
And SoundCloud.
and SoundCloud.
And rate us.
And go to boneheadhumor.com. Rate us. Write reviews.
And have your Chad spaded or
And if
neutered.
you're looking at us on YouTube and iTunes, subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe. And also, I forgot what I was going to say. Good luck and have a good night. Good luck and have a good night.
Good night and good luck.
No, I like mine better. I think mine's
Shut up,
catchier.
Joe. Yeah, yours is catchier, which is why the CDC won't let you out of the house.
The CDC took my baby away.
Oh my God.
The CDC took my baby away, took my baby away, took my baby away.